Mm, 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 mm. Well, that's all, folks. All right, y'all. So, my name is Tylane, and this is Tylane Ducksworth Reviews. Breaking news: Diddy has been found not guilty of RICO in his federal trial. So, we're going to go ahead and jump right on into the verdict heard all around the world and the Diddy of it all. All right, y'all. But what in the bad boy is going on? Is going on? Diddy was just found not guilty on three of the five federal charges, but the judge still denied bail again for the third time. Child. Yeah, we got to talk about this split verdict, the legal tea that everybody just cannot stop talking about, and what this really means for Diddy's future. Oh, what I was about to say. First, I'm going to say, now, how are you not guilty of trafficking, but guilty of transporting someone for prostitution across state lines? That's like saying the Uber driver is the only one punished. Like, what the hell is going on? Let's talk about what this Diddy verdict really says and what it doesn't. On paper, the man beat the three biggest charges, the ones with the heavy media fire, the ones that had Twitter crying, lock him up for life. But baby, the jury didn't go that far, y'all. They found him guilty on transporting across state lines, not sex trafficking, and not racketeering. But here's what I want all of us to sit with. If Diddy wasn't found guilty of the RICO, why is the judge still treating him like he did? And I'm going to get further into that. I'm not taking no sides. I'm not saying that he didn't do anything. But I pointed that out for a reason. Let's get into this article. According to Variety, that Diddy was denied bail and he will remain in jail until his October sentencing. Excuse me. And we will go over all of that, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. I've been sick. I'm struggling, baby. Just 1 second here. Goodness. Who had to take a deep breath there, y'all? Girl, yeah, I don't know what I got. I don't know if I got a cold or possibly I had pneumonia in the past. And I had a chest X-ray recently, and everything was normal. Not to get off subject, um, but yeah, I don't know what is going on. I just know I've been sick for like 2 weeks, and it started getting better, and now it's like wishy-washy. Anyway, Sean Diddy Combs, according to Variety, has been denied bail and will remain behind bars while awaiting sentencing in his federal trial, where he was found guilty on two counts of transportation for prostitution, but he dodged the more serious charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. The judge set a sentencing date for October 3rd at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today, on July 2nd, 2025. After the jury revealed the verdict earlier this morning, Wednesday morning, Combs' attorney Mark Agnifilio told the judge that he should be released on appropriate conditions as early as today. Baby, but the prosecution say not so fast. The prosecution countered the request, stating that it posed a real risk to let Sean Combs walk free. 5 p.m. on Wednesday, the parties reconvened in the federal courtroom where Judge Aaron Subramanian announced his ruling. He said it would be impossible for Combs to prove he would not pose a danger to others if released on bail, using the defense attorney's own words against them. It was like a catch 22 in this situation by them coming out and declaring that Diddy was not a good person and that he committed domestic violence. And Daphne Joy Jane, in her testimony, admitted that after the FBI was already investigating Diddy and after they raided the homes and everything, they was tussling with each other. Because of that, and Ms. Defense pointed that out at the beginning in her opening statement. The judge provided examples from the trial in which they admitted to Diddy's pattern of violence. He said, "You full throatedly." Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, you full throatedly. This is a freaky ass trial. When the judges started talking like this, you full throatedly in your closing arguments told the jury that there was violence here, Subramanian said to Agnifilio, quoting his summation on Friday. We own the domestic violence, we own it. The judge said the defense had prevailed on getting Combs acquitted on racketeering and sex trafficking charges, but domestic violence is violence. The evidence of such violence, the judge said, will not be considered concerning Combs' sentencing, but it can be considered when determining bail. Agnifilio, in search of a glimmer of hope, told the judge that Combs had enrolled in a batterers program, like a battered woman's program. I'm assuming that's what they're referring to, and went to meetings in New York before he was arrested in September 2024. Combs has been a remarkable prisoner and is working on himself. Really? Agnifilio added, I think we should trust him. He's not going to flee. He's been given his life back. He's going to have next chapters of his life. See, this is where y'all it's confusing. I'm not confusing, but you guys are jumping the gun because we don't know what the judge is going to do. It's good to manifest things in our lives, but to be just putting this out here when in actuality, for those two counts, Diddy isn't facing life, but Diddy is a 55-year-old man, and Diddy is facing 20 years in prison, possibly. That's if in the feds they have concurrent and consecutive. If they run it concurrent, then he'll just get a flat 10 years. If they run it consecutively, he is looking at up to 20 years. Okay? So for everybody to keep throwing it out here, I was seeing video after video today of, Diddy coming home, Diddy coming home. Uh, yeah, Diddy coming home, but we don't know when Diddy coming home. In this article, the attorney, Mark Agnifilio, goes on to say Combs has been a remarkable prisoner and is working on himself. Agnifilio added, I think we should trust him. He's not going to flee. He's been given back his life. He's going to have next chapters of his life. The defense's main argument was that this case had exceptional circumstances that should allow Combs' release. Arguing on behalf of the prosecution is Maureen Comey, and she basically said the only thing exceptional about Combs is his wealth, his violence, and his brazenness. In her fiery remarks, she reminded the judge of Combs' violence against women, which allegedly occurred as recently as June 2024. That was the situation with Daphne Joy. When he knew he was under a federal investigation, there is nothing exceptional about this case except for his continued criminality, Comey said. He's an extremely violent man with an extraordinarily dangerous temper who has shown no remorse and no regret for his multiple victims. Agnifilio fired back, listen to Miss Comey makes me appreciate we have jurors. So at one point during the bail hearing, Combs himself waved at the judge and indicated he wanted to say a few words. Ultimately, the opportunity passed and he remained silent. A virtual hearing between the judge and the parties to discuss a pre sentencing report has been set for Tuesday, July 8th at 2 o'clock p.m., and that is Eastern Standard Time. Early in the day, Subramanian stated that he wanted to read letters from both sides before making his decision regarding bail. In its letters, Combs' legal team proposed a bail package including a $1 million bond, travel restrictions to certain areas of Florida, because he's trying to go back to Florida, not stay in New York, California, and New York or New Jersey, surrendering his passport, and drug testing. Meanwhile, the government argued that Diddy should remain detained as his charges under the Mann Act required detention and stated that the only conceivable basis for release here is the existence of exceptional circumstances. Prosecutors wrote that even if detention was not mandatory here, which it is, the defendant cannot meet his burden to show by clear and convincing evidence that he is not likely to flee or pose a danger to any other person or the community. Okay, so they submitted their preliminary calculations that they want Diddy to be in prison for the two charges he was convicted on from 51 to 63 months, which is roughly 4 to 5 years. Okay. Also, I want to take a look at Cassie. Cassie lawyer presented a letter on behalf of her, and let's see here. Alrighty. So this is a letter that was written on July 2nd, 2025. Wigdor is Cassie's attorney's named Douglas H. Wigdor. So it looks like the United States versus Combs, and then it is addressed to the Honorable Aaron Subramanian, United States District Judge, Southern District of New York. Dear Judge Subramanian, we write as counsel for Cassandra Ventura. Ms. Ventura to respectfully request that the court deny Mr. Combs to be released pending his sentencing on his two convictions under 18 U.S.C. 2421, pursuant to the Bail Reform Act 18 U.SC 1343A2. Detention is mandatory post conviction on these charges, and Ms. Ventura believes that Mr. Combs is likely to pose a danger to the victims who testified in this case, including herself, as well as to the community. We thank the court for its time and attention to this matter. Respectfully. Okay? Douglas H. Wigdor. Okay? So, Cassie put that in, but the old heads is not feeling Cassie. Okay? I believe, what's his name? Funkflex. Let me, just a second, y'all. I believe his name is Funkflex. He is not feeling Cassie having her lawyer, her to write this on her behalf. He goes on to say something about that Diddy made bad choices, she's made bad choices. Basically, they both were young at the time, something along those lines. But just a second here. Okay, I found it here, you guys. This is a tweet that Funkflex put out, and he added Cassie. Okay. So, okay, y'all. Alrighty. Sorry about the delay here. Funkflex has something to say to Cassie. Yeah, they issued a statement and then he responded. He posted under that statement. According to this statement from Cassie Ventura's legal team, by coming forward with her experience, Cassie has left an indelible mark on both the entertainment industry and the fight for justice. She displayed unquestionable strength and brought attention to the realities of powerful men in our orbit and the misconduct that has persisted for decades without repercussion. Okay? And this was put out with ABC News after the jury issued their verdict in Sean Diddy Combs' trial. So this is what Funkflex had to say. He always opened his mouth at the wrong time saying the wrong thing. So Funkflex says, and I say that because there's a time and place for everything. But he's one of them people that he's always, him, Nicki Minaj, anyway, always just running off at the mouth. I think Cassie has been through a lot, especially at a young age. She is such a nice person and always gave off good energy. I hope her and her family overcome all the pain they are going through. The entertainment business is a dangerous environment that everyone is not built for. Oh, wow, so he's insulting her. I do think you and your lawyers should give it a rest. Oh, you threatened to drop a book, then got paid out to not drop the book. If you cared so much to get your message out, you would have dropped the book. I get it. It's a case. You had to testify. You are $30 million up and 10 million up from hotel. No, Funkflex, you got that wrong. She got 30 million altogether. She got 20 from Diddy, and more than likely his insurance paid for that because it was under the company umbrella. Anywho, and then she got 10 million from the Continental Hotel. You planned this lick. Please don't be mad at me. I don't see you as a victim. You was young. Diddy made bad choices, and you made bad choices. When do you plan to teach girls not to make the same mistakes you made? When do you learn to mind your business, sir? The audacity. Anywho, that's his opinion. So I'm gonna just go ahead and finish giving my commentary so I don't go off in a rant. Some people, the nerve. Wow. The judge cited past intimidation and ongoing threats to witnesses. Because remember, it was all that hoopla when Diddy first was trying to get bail, that he was reaching out to different people. He reached out to the other girl in Danity Kane, not Dawn Richards, but the other one. What is her name? What is her name? No, she was in Dirty Money. Kalina Harper. That's her name. I knew I was going to find it. Thank y'all for being patient. Sorry about that. Kalina. He reached out to Kalina. It came out in court, even though that girl Mia was lying through her teeth. The people that got up on that stand that were not telling the truth, the jury were able to see through them lying. It hurt the case. Anywho, like I was saying, a judge cited past intimidation and ongoing threats to witnesses. They said Diddy was trying to contact different people. Once he found out the FBI was investigating him, he was reaching out to people, calling them 30, 40, 50 times a day. So that's where the witness tampering and ongoing threats come into play. It's just looking like at this time, baby, the last time in the bail package, he was given the world. This time they only offered $1 million, and allegedly, who it was, I thought I heard another content creator say the other day that allegedly Diddy funds may be frozen. The money ain't moving the judge this time, okay? And Cassie attorney writing on her behalf, the defense admitting that Diddy is violent, and the prosecutor enforcing that, letting the judge know. Because of that, dude, they don't trust you. They not letting you out. But this is a third time, and the judge said absolutely not to Diddy walking free. And that is wild because typically after a partial acquittal, bail becomes more likely. But baby, the prosecution pulled out one last trump card to let them know, like I said, Diddy has a violent pattern, witness intimidation. Behind the scenes, they feel like he's using, playing power games and money and things like that. So they not here for it. And at this point, it's like they may have not been able to prove every charge in court, but the judge saw through the smoke and mirrors and obviously feels like that Diddy is not completely reformed. Bail isn't just about guilt, it's about trust. And it's obviously that Diddy has no trust left in that courtroom. They don't trust him. But that's why it's gonna be, what's the word I'm looking for? Just basically, it's to see exactly how this is going to go, pretty much. Like, how is this going to pan out? Is he going to get, the minimum time that he could get, which was like 21 to 27 months? And then he'll have time served. Right now, he's at 9 months. If he stays in another 3 months, he'll been did a year. They could take that year off and give him probation or something, as long as he continues to go to therapy and what other kind of programs they have. However, it seems like they trying to make an example out of you, Diddy. And because of that, I think everybody done got excited a little bit too fast. Let's get on over to the mess and the drama, okay? Because baby, you know your boy had to come out and show his butt. He couldn't wait to comment. Old 50 Cent, okay? Good 50 call Diddy the gay John got it. Lord have mercy. All right, y'all. So as y'all can see, this was on Say Cheese Instagram. 50 Cent reacts to Diddy's not guilty verdict on racketeering and sex trafficking charges. Diddy beat the RICO. That boy a bad man. He like the gay John Gotti. 50. I would say you don't know how to quit, but you got your own issues. But seem like you've been keeping your foot on Diddy neck. Part of it is probably ego, and the other part is that you salted about your baby mama because the Daphne Joy lady is the mother to 50 Cent's youngest son. Seem like y'all gonna have beef forever. Anywho, Young Miami, why y'all keep messing with Carisha? Let Carisha be, okay? Carisha is, I believe she's 30 now, and she figuring it out. Give her breaks. Carisha posted a tweet that was at the bottom where it says 1111 hearts. She didn't even say nothing. But of course, the internet, good old internet on internet, they decided to drag her. Somebody posted this, and this back from when she made that ignorant comment. This person says, keep in mind, Young Miami is the same woman who once said she would beat her son if he were gay. To her, being gay is worse than being an abuser or rapist. Now, I went back and I looked at this little 8-second clip, and she basically was saying, she asked the person that was interviewing her that she was talking to, when you do something bad, what happens? Girl, what? She was saying that just like any other thing her child does bad, and her way of dressing that with her child, instead of the first thing being showing love, understanding, and affection, it would be to discipline her child for being gay. Ooh, I can't help you out, Young Miami. I cannot help you out, girl. You know. So, anywho, y'all bear with me because I'm not feeling good at all, and I am dragging. But I wanted to come on here and say a little something, to respond to this. So, anyway, oh, I knew I was forgetting somebody. Aubrey O'Day. I think she just doing this for clout at this point. Cause it's like, girl, if you really had something to say or you really had some evidence, why didn't they call you to testify? Remember, she had put out that she was going to be in New York and had everybody thinking that she was going to testify, and then come to find out she wasn't testifying. So, yes, you've been talking because she put a post in. I've been talking for the last 20 years. Okay, yes, you have, but why didn't they get you to testify? And that further goes to prove that seem like what the government messed up at is that they could have made their RICO case had they included Cassie and Jane Doe, aka Daphne Joy, as co-conspirators because they were involved. They were paying prostitutes, they were making calls when Diddy wasn't around, they was meeting up, having freak offs when Diddy was nowhere in the room. It was just them and the escort, and they were doing this on their own. Now, whether that's because they had been taught this and accustomed to this, and because they were in fear, I'm not sure. But the bottom line is that they had been making these visits, these meetings without Diddy. And there were documentation receipts to prove that phone records, hotel information that was presented in court that showed that not only were they having freak offs with Diddy and the escorts, they were individually meeting up with escorts alone by themselves. I understand them not wanting to, I would hope that they didn't want to put them, because they are victims, you don't want to prosecute somebody that's considered to be a victim. But that's pretty much how y'all lost the case. Aubrey O'Day tweet that she put out. If I can find it, y'all, just a second. What did I do with Aubrey? Okay, I'm gonna come back to Aubrey. Let me go ahead and Kesha. She sends her support to Cassie following the Diddy verdict. Cassie, I believe you. I love you. Your strength is a beacon for every survivor. That was very nice of you, Kesha. Wait a minute, y'all. I'm sorry. Hold on. Oh my goodness, I cannot find a picture that I had for Aubrey O'Day of her tweet. Give me a second, y'all. Let me see if I can find this. I'm sorry. I feel like all of my energy is just wiped out. Aubrey O'Day, after this is her reaction to the verdict. I'm still unpacking the magnitude of it all. The cultural weight of this decision is immeasurable. It is heartbreaking to witness how many lives have been impacted by their experiences with Sean Combs, only for those stories to fall short in the eyes of a jury. I can only hope these jurors never have to watch someone they love endure what so many survivors have described. I'll say this again, and I hate to say this, Aubrey. I understand you may have observed Cassie being abused, but for the things that Diddy was charged with, where is your evidence? You didn't testify. Where is your evidence of these experiences that you're speaking of? And I'm not saying it didn't happen. That's not what I'm saying. Because I do believe that Diddy is cold blooded. I do. But, to say that the stories fell short in the eyes of the jury, as if the jury made the wrong decision when the jury only went by the evidence that they had. And if you were not able to provide any evidence to the case to help it, I don't understand. But anyway, she goes on to say, my heart is with Cassie, a woman who could have had a life and career free of fear and control, a woman who told her truth in a courtroom only to have the world dissect her credibility instead of her courage. We not Diddy was whooping on Cassie, and Cassie also was a willing participant to some degree. Now, I'm not going to say that that was the case the entire relationship, but at some point she made a decision, regardless to everything else that was around it. Stockholm, PTSD, everything else you want to say. She had a mother, she had a father, she had a family. Cassie had access to resources, and maybe she just wasn't strong enough at that time. I'm not gonna, maybe she just wasn't strong enough to fight back at that time. I don't know. Let's be clear. The courtroom operates by the law, but that does not mean it delivers justice, nor is it the best place to develop the moral compass this world so urgently needs. The pattern of behavior Sean Combs has shown us over the decades is not a mystery, it's a warning, and now that pattern risks being reframed and has now been legitimized by the system. This wasn't Bonnie and Clyde, it was control, coercion, and abuse. And we have to stop rewriting history to excuse the behavior and start normalizing accountability, no matter how powerful the person. That narrative is not just dishonest, it's dangerous. That narrative is not just dishonest, it's dangerous. Women nor men nor any artist are the property of those with the most wealth, fame, and power. We are not disposable. 12 people on a jury will not be deciding that for us. Okay, Aubrey, I understand where you're coming from, Aubrey, but you have to understand that the prosecution to me did not prove their case. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. They didn't really, I think they brought the one psychiatrist up there, and then her credibility was questioned. Basically, like, there are things that could be true, but there was no supportive evidence that was put forward to prove Stockholm, PTSD. And you had these women going back and forth, which we all know how toxic relationships can work. But it was like even when they had the opportunity to leave, they didn't. For example, Diddy cheated on Cassie and got Kim pregnant with the twins. Rest in peace to Miss Beautiful Kim Porter. Cassie still stayed. She went back to him. She was sending messages saying that she wanted to do free calls. Cassie and Daphne Joy was setting up free calls by themselves. That's what the jury is looking at. And if that psychiatrist did not come in and give validation and give reasons to why they would have behaved that way, then the jury have to go off of the cards that they was given. So obviously that psychiatrist, I can't remember what her name was or her credentials, but whoever she was, obviously she did not make the jury see that these women were battling Stockholm or they were battling PTSD or they were so in fear for their lives that they were doing these things. Nobody made the jury see this. And because of that, they just went off of just facts as if it was just somebody that had not been in an abusive relationship. It's unfortunate, but the courts have spoken. You got people out here that making posts, this weight, this burden as if they have been defeated. And then you got people out here that's jumping the gun, all Diddy coming home when, like I said, they could make an example out of Diddy and be like, dude, you gonna do 20 years. Diddy 55. Diddy will be coming home at 75 years old, and that's Fed time. He would do what, 85% of that? And he may can get a year off if he into some kind of treatment program for the drug and the abuse or what have you. Anyway, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and we gonna get ready to wrap this up. Like I was saying earlier, pretty much the public has been commenting, and Cassie's name hasn't stopped trending since the day she walked away, pretty much. Cause even before all this came out, it was where's Cassie? What happened with Cassie? Where's Cassie? All we knew is that Cassie had left. She was at Kim's funeral, and then after that, we didn't see her no more. And the next thing we know, she was married to Alex Fine. And then we watched him go back and forth, putting different posts up, going at Diddy, calling Diddy gay and stuff like that on the internet for years. But let's be real. Even though the prosecution didn't seal the deal, the court of public opinion already sentenced and basically tried and convicted Diddy in public opinion. We know what we saw. That video was enough for anybody that has any kind of empathy. But the facts are is that, and this where it's tricky. Diddy was not on trial. They keep playing that video over and over and over again. I've been seeing the video over and over again. And most of the people on the internet keep saying Diddy was not on trial for domestic violence. Had they tried Diddy for domestic violence, then Diddy would have been convicted. Now, how much time he would have got, it wouldn't be nowhere near what he's facing now, and that's sad. That says a lot about society that you can beat the hell out of a woman, and in public at that, in a hotel hallway on camera. and pretty much, I think that would have been like a misdemeanor or something like that. Anyway, this is just a lot. It's just all too much. Which brings me to the industry. Uh, y'all think the industry is gonna welcome Diddy back in with open arms? That is not gonna happen. Like I just said, Diddy has already been convicted in public, by public opinion. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna have to, well, I might as well finish. Oh, what I was about to say. So pretty much, Revolt is already trying to delete the memory of Diddy. Ciroc cut ties with Diddy and they cut him off. All the streaming platforms have been real quiet on his catalog. Diddy might be out here dancing in his private studio, but the reality is the doors in the industry are closing quietly and strategically. Nobody wants their brand associated with a man that beat the hell out of a woman on camera in a hotel hallway. That's just not, like I said, it's pretty much it's like in the Bible it says if you lie you steal, if you steal you'll kill. It's the same situation with this. If you put your hands on a woman, then that says everything we need to know about you. And he didn't just put his hands, it ain't like he just slapped her. He was whooping her like she was a man. So anytime you've done something, you do something like that, then your credibility is shot. And then he came out, he lied about it first. So when the lawsuit first was filed by Cassie, he lied about it. And he said people were trying to destroy his name. Then next thing you know, he on the video looked like he in some sauna somewhere with that fake ass apology, that insincere apology. He was messed up, he was in a dark place. Obviously, you still was in a dark place because you was beating the hell out of Daphne Joy in June of 2024. So with all of that, it's just too many, too much. It's just too much. Yeah, no. Diddy is cooked. There may be a select group of people that still choose to go around Diddy, but Sean, Puffy Combs, Diddy, Brother Love, as we knew him, that's over with. That ship done sailed. Okay. So pretty much the last thing I'm gonna do here is go over this article by the New York Post that they put out in reference to and Diddy make a comeback. So pretty much here, New York Post, Sean Diddy Combs supporters chanted "Free Puff" and poured baby oil all over themselves outside Manhattan federal court Wednesday after the stunning verdict in his bombshell weeks-long sex trafficking trial was revealed. But could he really make a comeback? A jury convicted the once renowned music mogul 55 of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, but acquitted him of the more serious sex trafficking and racketeering charges that could have landed him in prison for the rest of his natural life. Combs is now facing a maximum sentence of up to 20 years in prison on the 2 prostitution charges. And his sentencing is scheduled for October 3rd. You know? It just goes through letting so before Diddy was arrested in September of 2024, the 3-time Grammy Award winner was riding high as one of the most powerful men in music. Like I said, a couple people just pointed out that he had just got the key to the city. He had just won, I believe that was MTV Awards when Young Miami was holding up that sign and he shouted out Cassie, which was actually a taunt. That was him taunting her. That wasn't just a shout out. And while his career quickly came tumbling down, the jury's shocking decision opens the door to the possibility that Combs will try to rejoin the industry and fix his battered reputation. Did you better take your kids and your money that you'll be left with? Because them civil lawsuits ain't gonna be no joke. And go mind your business and sit down somewhere. Really quickly, and Oliverius says, I do not think the court of public opinion will be forgiving. The founder of the McAllister Oliverius law firm and an attorney focused on women's rights told the Post in a statement. The damage to Diddy's reputation is real and demonstrates that the world is watching and survivors matter, even if their abusers are powerful. Okay? And then we just kind of see a series of, Diddy from the 2023 MTV Music Awards I was just talking about when Miami was holding up that poster. This Diddy and his lawyers are surrounding him in the courtroom. They say that they've been praying for him and stuff. And then the rest of the article goes on to say that David B. Allen, a professor of music marketing at St. Joseph's University, uh, Similarly, believes Combs can't make a comeback. The wave of getting off on the more serious charges settles, the music business will pass judgment and his reputation will be done. Allen exclusively told the Post. Sean has always been great at PR and publicity, but there is no coming back from this, as this is his legacy. There will always be an asterisk by his name and his hits, Allen stated. Yeah. Anna Garcia, host of True Crime News, the podcast, shared a similar sentiment about Combs' future in the industry. Combs may have been spared life in prison, but I am not so sure his career can be saved, Garcia exclusively told the Post. How can you look at Diddy and not think this man is repulsive? The public cannot unsee Cassie's beating or the vile things he made her do. That's the things. But that's the thing, you can't make statements like that he made her do because the jury did not find him guilty on that. They didn't believe that she was coerced. I think Diddy's image and endorsements are ruined, Garcia continued. This trial didn't of Diddy's gangsta cred. Instead, it revealed a pathetic and violent man who gets off on seeing his beautiful girlfriend urinated on. Who wants that guy endorsing your product? Well, she asked to be urinated on. She never said that Diddy told her that. She said she asked for that to be done. And the escort said she asked for that to be done. I don't know. When you walk away with $30 million, people don't unfortunately don't see you as a victim. And like I said, it could be looked at okay that what she just wasn't strong enough to come forward back then. But in my opinion, I feel like, and I hate to say this, but I've always felt like this that Diddy is an ain't shit ninja. But I also have to say that Cassie, I believe that Cassie using her pretty privilege. And what I mean by that is it came out that her and her husband was had fell on hard times and they had moved back home with her parents right before she filed this lawsuit. And around the time when Diddy was out here fronting Young Miami, and it came out that Young Miami was getting, I want to say, like $500,000 a month, and it dropped down to 250, and then he put all those roses and everything in her place, and then I guess they discussed it and compromised, and he must have went back up to the 500,000. But on Cassie end, she's looking at the fact that I'm beautiful, I'm pretty, I'm racially ambiguous, and this dark skinned hood ghetto black chick, dark skinned black woman, this hood chick that is in the group, the City Girls, that's from the hood in Miami, is out here living my life. And word is, you have most people that want to say that, Diddy treated Miami like he treated everybody else. And then it came out in this trial, people were saying that even the women, Cassie got up there, not Cassie, but Jane Doe, got up there and said that no, Diddy didn't treat Miami the way that she was jealous of Miami. The same way that Cassie was jealous of Kim. I always felt like when this first happened that I didn't think that Diddy was innocent, but I also felt like that Cassie was doing this from a place of it wasn't just about making holding her abuser accountable. It was about the fact that this, like I said, this ghetto chick is being treated the way that I feel like I should have been treated. And how dare you, I don't know if he compartmentalized or what he did, but how dare you hold yourself up to where you can find it within you to treat this woman with the compassion and empathy and love or what have you that you never showed me. Mm-mm. Alrighty, sorry about that, guys. I'm having some technical difficulties. You won't be able to see me for the rest of the video, and I do apologize. I'm not victim blaming at all. I am saying is that ultimately everybody involved played a part and they have to hold some accountability for their actions. Diddy 1000%, Cassie and Jane Doe, who we now know as allegedly Daphne Joy. So I feel like as grown women, more so Daphne Joy, hold some responsibility in your part in this whole debacle. On the other hand, I know people don't like to hear this word, but it's more to it. Cassie was groomed as an adult. She was 19 when they met. She said they did not involve intimately until she was 22. Either way, he scoped her out when she was 19 and made up in his mind, I got to have her, okay? Finally, in closing here, like we in court, huh? That video of Diddy beating the hell out of Cassie worked against the prosecution like a double-edged sword. They were trying to use it to support their perception of him and their evidence that he is a horrible human being. They felt like this will prove that, at least to make the jurors see that he's capable of these acts. However, like I said, a double-edged sword. By them playing that video over and over again, it's like no matter how much the prosecutors and us, the public, want Diddy to be held accountable for his actions, now majority of the media, I heard a podcaster saying they didn't care how long ago the video was from. He should still be charged for domestic violence as assault and put in prison, period. They don't care when it was. But we live in the good old US of A. Okay? And as messed up as the judicial system is, systematically, that's something that you can't do. No matter how much Diddy actions have proven him to be a horrible person, you can't just throw somebody in jail for something that they're not charged with. That video was out of the statute of limitations. Cassie didn't go after criminal charges for Diddy for abusing her domestically, physically when he beat her at the Intercontinental Hotel. She went after him civilly. Everybody in the public is looking at that video and they're listening to the facts of the case. They feel he did that, he did everything else, so he's guilty. Put him in prison. All we can do at this point as a culture is move on, but we need to start having real conversations about situations like this. I'm going to do a follow-up video to this. It's going to be a short video. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on Diddy, Cassie, and why the verdict ended the way that it did. For now, I just wanted to come back to you guys because my video ended abruptly. I hope, the truth will tell the story and that Diddy changes his life, makes the choice to use his money for good, like, for example, giving back to the families of artists of his that are no longer here. For example, Black Rob, Craig Mack, and any other artists he didn't do right by. It's a whole list of people. Maze. Anyway, the verdict is complicated, you guys. Diddy was convicted. From the sounds of the public, he wasn't convicted for what people wanted him to be convicted for. The prosecution messed they up with that video. Prejudicial. Their logic is we can use this video to show his character. If the jurors would have convicted him off of that video, that's prejudicial. If the jury would have the same mindset to the public, basically. We have some evidence, but we don't have all of the predicates to pinpoint exactly. But because of that video, we saw him beating her. So let's take all this into consideration and convict him for everything. Unfortunately, that's not how that works. The judge doesn't need to make him pay for every charge that was dropped against him. The judge only has to maximize what's stuck and trust that Diddy's upcoming sentence can be heavy if the judge wants to send a message. And this is what people don't get. Judges can't punish you for what you didn't do, but they can consider the totality of circumstances. They wasn't allowed to use their personal accusations, public fallout, cultural impact, but the judge can. So could the judge make an example out of Diddy? Absolutely. Everybody that's freaking out about the verdict because it's not the verdict that they wanted, and supporters who are happy about the verdict, y'all jumped the gun. The judge could absolutely make an example out of him, and not to satisfy justice, but to satisfy the public and people. Even if the case wasn't perfect, the culture and people are fed up with Diddy. And when the people scream, enough is enough, somebody got to pay. Sir, you put yourself in this situation. Mr. Sean, Puffy, Diddy, what was the other one? Brother Love, Combs. So do I think he's done? Not necessarily. But do I think the version of Diddy that we knew is done? Absolutely. And honestly, y'all, it is long, long overdue. So I'm Tylane Ducksworth, and over here I like to keep it real with my reviews and reactions and receipts. Please hit that like button, subscribe button, and the notification bell so you don't miss the next thing I drop. As I said, I will be doing a follow-up video on this. Everything in this video, alleged. anything that I was saying, my opinion, alleged. Till next time, y'all take care, be safe, and I'm out. Thank you guys for chilling with Tylane Ducksworth Reviews. Bye bye.